6-year-old me is really pissed right now. I mean, it's no secret that children's programming has taken a bit of a sharp nosedive than how we remember it when we were kids. And maybe the most disappointing of this transformation came from America's first network for kids, Nickelodeon. So, to understand how we got here, we need to understand how we got here. So, grab a juice box and a snack, because this one's gonna be a long one. Here we go. Nickelodeon first began as a network named Pinwheel and was only shown on the cable system called The Cube that was exclusive to the Columbus, Ohio area. Pinwheel premiered on December 1st, 1977, and it was akin to a PBS Kids style network in programming because it had a very specific time slot from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and it was geared to children's educational shows. That makes sense because, fun fact, the original concept for Nickelodeon and all its incarnations was developed by Dr. Vivian Horner, who was a researcher and developer of the popular PBS show, The Electric Company. Pinwheel was acquired by the Warner Cable Company in Buffalo, New York, and soon was being broadcast via satellite where the whole country could watch it. Eventually, the network relaunched on April 1st, 1979 as Nickelodeon. The network continued to show educational programming, but they expanded to other shows such as Video Comic Book, Pop Clips, Hocus Pocus, Nickel Flicks, and maybe the most famous from this era, You Can't Do That on Television, in 1980. You Can't Do That on Television was a Canadian sketch comedy show, and it was the first show to feature slime. Fun fact. According to Jeffrey Darby, the slime was an accident. Honestly, we had this joke on the dungeon set, don't any of you kids pull this chain. We ended up going to the cafeteria, gave the prop guy a bucket, and said, we want you to take all the stuff that was left on the plates from the whole day, we'll add water to it and dump it on the kid. Delicious. That was an excerpt from the best-selling book, Slimed. Nick was one of the first genuinely for kids networks on television at the time. Many networks that showed children's programming had an extremely strong push for advertising during their most popular shows. Most shows on these networks eventually turned into 15 to 30 minute long commercials for cereals, toys, and plenty of other stuff. To show just how different Nick was planning on being, in the early 80s they ran completely commercial free. So yeah, Nick was different. The network was growing, but not in the way that you may think. Nick really lacked in brand recognition among some of the top front runners in television like MTV and Disney Channel. So they decided to call in MTV Network's president Fred Seibert and his good buddy Alan Goodman, who worked on shows such as Hey Dude, Clarissa Explains It All, and random cartoons. And I'd say they did a pretty bang-up job at it.
I'm here with my friends, Nickelodeon, the song never ends, Nickelodeon.
My boys Freddie S. and Ali G revolutionized the way that people saw Nickelodeon. I mean, the idea to have dinosaurs singing doo-wop was indicative of the attitude that Nickelodeon was trying to convey to its viewers, and it was pretty damn successful. They were responsible for the ever-changing Nick Splat logo. That was probably the most innovative and fun aspect of a logo I've ever seen, because every time I would watch something on Nickelodeon, the logo would be different. The edgy, genuine, and just plain fun style of the network made it a force to be reckoned with within children's programming, and its popularity grew faster than anyone could have expected. In the early 90s, Nickelodeon partnered with Universal Studios and created Nickelodeon Studios, where guests could tour the facility, audition for shows, learn how slime was created, and even take some home for themselves. Later, many television shows such as All That, Kenan and Kel, and basically every single game show on Nickelodeon was filmed here, well, there, and even a time capsule was buried in 1992. Now you may be asking, Bobbi, what happened to this place? Au contraire, mon frère. We'll get to that. On August 11, 1991, Nickelodeon premiered Doug, The Ren and Stimpy Show, and Rugrats as 3 of their first Nicktoons, and they were all pretty successful, the most successful of which being Rugrats. Rugrats became a pop culture juggernaut, with being Nickelodeon's longest running show, only to be replaced by SpongeBob, and it was even given a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2001, the first and only Nickelodeon show to be given a star. The success of all these shows ushered in maybe some of the most popular shows that Nickelodeon has ever created, such as All That, Hey Dude, Clarissa Explains It All, Hey Arnold, and Rocko's Modern Life, among a ton of others. These shows were diverse in both cast types, showing a plethora of character personalities, races and ethnicities, and character backgrounds. The characters in all these shows are relatable in some way, whether it's in their family types or just in their dispositions. I have no words. You can figure it out for yourselves, honestly. I'm Helga, Helga's me. Again, not something that I should admit, but here we are. Not to mention the hundreds, it felt like, of game shows that they had on the network. I'm still scared of temple cards. I'm in college, so that's on the internet now. Nick also dabbled into other areas of entertainment, such as movies. And to kind of put into perspective just how successful these movies were, the Rugrats movie, released in 1998, was the first non-Disney animated film to gross over $100 million in the box office. The network was riding high, and success didn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. Arguably, the peak of their success came when a yellow sponge with a pet snail and a starfish for a best friend who works as a fry cook for a crab and a squid came onto the scene. SpongeBob SquarePants, created by Steve Hillenburg, premiered on Nickelodeon on May 1st, 1999, and it was the definition of a success for the network. And soon the entire network was becoming progressively yellow. What I mean by that is that the network began to solely focus on the SpongeBob brand, and they had good reason to, because SpongeBob grosses $8 billion a year in merchandise alone. As the SpongeBob series rose in popularity, many of Nickelodeon's once popular shows were beginning to end one right after another. Their live-action programming still held its own with classics such as Drake and Josh, Zoe 101, and Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, but one after another, they either became extremely stupid or just died out completely. And not to mention these nightmares. Bite me in the comments. Oh, I remember Nickelodeon Studios and how we'd get back to that, so we're here. Nickelodeon Studios closed in 2005 after staying open for not very long, 13 years to be exact, and the time capsule that was buried there was then moved to the Nickelodeon Hotel, which is also gone. What will the children of 1992 open when their time to open the time capsule comes? Not my issue because I wasn't born yet, but still. And not to mention, Nickelodeon Studios was replaced with the Blue Man Group at Universal Studios. So you mean to tell me a bunch of adult Smurfs banging on drums is more exciting than making your own slime and being able to eat it? For shame. For shame, Nickelodeon. By doing this, there is a lack of healthy competition between shows on the network like there was in its heyday. Healthy competition is so vital for a successful network. You have to give everyone a chance and an opportunity to find something that they like instead of forcing it down their throats. The company was already in decline, but there was one day that could pinpoint when Nickelodeon died. September 28th, 2009. The day Nickelodeon changed from the classic Splat logo to this. The Nickelodeon logo is one of the most iconic logos ever created, and it is timeless. It's fun. It's always going to be fun, and it's easily recognizable. I mean, take the logo, okay? Take the text off of it. You'll still know where it's from. The rest of my case. Nick has stayed at a low for a very long time, especially with their live action content and a lot of their Nicktoons. But there are some really amazing shows that Nickelodeon has yet to give a chance, such as Harvey Beaks and my favorite, The Loud House. I mean, The Loud House has showed the first, Nickelodeon's first at least, gay couple, but they don't make like a big deal about it. It's just something that's there, and that's the progression and cutting edge attitude that Nickelodeon built its empire off of. I mean, they have to give these shows an opportunity to flourish and connect with a couple viewers at least before killing them off for something really, really stupid. Pick goat, banana pick, like what? Come on, like kids are smart. Give them some credit. Like, here's my message to you. You can do this. There are a whole generation of kids that love Nickelodeon and know what it means and what the message of the entire network was built off of. I mean, sure, you're not exactly in your heyday with the classic shows, but there is a chance there's plenty of good content on your network right now that you could build off of rather than just gunning for SpongeBob. You see what I'm saying? And I think there are some new grounds being made. One, the Hey Arnold Jungle movie, which I'm so fucking excited about, and they're bringing back Invader Zim. So I think they're starting to listen to the people that grew the network in the first place, and that's good. That's really good.